Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. Up first, our first graphic of the show is the hazardous weather graphic, and we've got some highlighted areas here, yellow for advisories, and Western Arctic coast wind chill advisory, and that's, let's see, that's out through 9 p.m. Monday for winds that will create wind chills 50 degrees below zero. Winds won't be all that strong, but anything over 15 miles an hour with the temperatures that are below zero will create, again, the wind chills around 50 degrees below zero. Got the same thing here on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast in the highlighted area there. Again, easterly winds, not all that strong, maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour, creating wind chills 50 below zero, and not enough wind for that to occur on the central coast. Otherwise, here in the interior, we've got winter weather advisories out through, or beginning 3 p.m. Monday, and those stay out from 3 p.m. Monday is when they kick into effect, even though some areas are experiencing it now. But anywhere from 3 p.m. Monday through 3 p.m. Christmas Day, these advisories are due to be in full effect, and winds gusting to 40 miles an hour will create areas of snow and blowing snow, mostly along the summits of both the Elliott and Dalton highways. And again, today we're seeing gusts already 36 miles an hour, Indian Mountain, with 3 miles in snow and 3 miles in blowing and drifting snow. No snow falling, just what's on the ground starting to blow around there. So moving on, satellite imagery. Got a very weak trough right through here, producing mostly just clouds, maybe a few isolated flurries, and that's about it. Mostly just scattered clouds through here. And the main upper level low still around the St. Lawrence Island area, keeping it cloudy and a few flurries, very light snow showers there, maybe a little bit more up toward the Bering Strait. But that's about it, keeping the cold air locked over actually much of the eastern Bering Sea here, just clouds over the Purbloss, temperatures in the mid-20s and just a light breeze, and some snow showers along the Bering Sea coast of the Alaska Peninsula. Out to the west, several bands of moisture here lifting slowly northward and weakening, and then a bigger cloud shield with the next batch, or actually low pressure area. The original one now dropping well to the south of Shemya from a couple of days ago, and the next one actually off the picture, but just a few showers occurring here, rain or snow, Atka and Adak, with a few snow showers around Shemya, light amounts. Not a bad day there over the eastern Aleutians with just a few clouds. Kodiak Island, kind of some shower activity there with this band of moisture over the Gulf of Alaska, and then we had a pretty good system roll into the Panhandle. We can actually, the center moved in toward Dixon Entrance, weakening considerably from what it was overnight last night and late yesterday as it moved in. All the wind, heavy rain down to the south, but some rain did get up into the southern Panhandle today. Anywhere from, 2/3 of an inch fell from the system at Ketchikan, while Annette only picked up about roughly 2/3 of an, or 2/10 of an inch of rain, and Klawock only had something like 3/100 of an inch. So definitely not much of a rain producer, not much of a wind producer either. Precipitation getting as far north as Angoon, they had about 1/100 of an inch in the last 12 hours, and some rain and snow light over toward Wrangell and Petersburg. Sitka, 5/100 of an inch of rain, so very light precipitation with this system, and again weakening rapidly. Winds Lynn Canal, the higher pressure over the Yukon, and then the lower pressure to the south, anywhere from 40 to 53 miles per hour today, throughout the day. So pretty windy up in that area, and actually diminishing winds around the Delta Junction area today. So light winds, variable clouds across southern Alaska, a few isolated flurries up here around, south of Fort Yukon in toward Circle, I believe it was. And then the snow and blowing snow, or the blowing snow and gusty winds around Indian Mountain there. And this pattern will continue through tomorrow with actually an increase in the winds a little bit, more gusts, 40 miles an hour along the Delta and Dalton highways along those summits. Light winds, but enough of a breeze, and the temperatures far enough below zero to create the wind chill advisories both on the eastern and western Beaufort Sea coast. That currently in effect here on the west side. Now kick into effect later tonight or tomorrow on the east side. Very weak trough right through here. A few isolated light snow showers along that. Nothing significant, nothing very heavy at all the way down into the Alaska Peninsula area, and the scattered rain and snow showers, Kodiak Island, the Barrens, just barely reaching the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula. And again, the bulk of this moisture with this system staying to the south, some leftover scattered isolated light showers here along the Aleutians. That's about it. And that'll continue for tonight. Again, all the wind and rain. See a little bit of an increase in the winds with this over the Aleutians, but the bulk of the moisture staying to the south. Scattered snow showers possible Bristol Bay, and again along this very weak trough over the southwest interior into the main low, kind of a reflection of the upper level low, which looks a lot more impressive aloft there. So maybe some areas of light snow. Flurries more likely there for the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound out to the Bering Strait. Breezy, again, the higher elevations here in the interior, but dry, mostly clear all the way out to the Arctic coast. Looks like good VFR. And then isolated snow showers possible, east side of Kodiak, more likely Fognak and the Barrens, light. All this is very light. May reach Cape Yakataga, but not much at all. Otherwise, mostly clear Cook Inlet. A few clouds, Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast. Copper River Basin clear. Areas again dropping into the lower -20s once again, like McCarthy, Kennecott over toward Gulkana. And first system moves through, weakens in Canada. Another low pressure area off the coast. And that'll keep a trough, onshore flow, chance of moisture in the form of rain along the south coast, mixture inland and to the north, and maybe a few flurries reaching the northern areas. Moving on to Christmas Eve, Monday, tomorrow. Trough right along the southeast coast keeps it unsettled. Low flying conditions, marginal IFR to IFR in some areas, with a mixture of precipitation. Anything that falls from Juneau on up to Skag will be in the form of snow. Isolated snow showers possible drifting into Prince William Sound, maybe pulling into Passage Canal possibly, but should be mostly clear. Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, all the way down to Port Graham, northward through the valleys into the interior to the Arctic coast. Looks good, clear skies, and then the breezy conditions, again, higher elevations. Chance of flurries, Bering Strait into the Chukchi Sea. Otherwise, Bering Sea not too bad. Maybe a risk of a snow shower here for the Dillingham-Togiak area. Otherwise, maybe some clearing here with the breezy conditions kind of increasing as this thing slides off to the east, beginning to take a turn to the northeast now. Nothing out west except some scattered rain and snow showers. And then actually a new low center will develop right about here. The other one just coming onto the map. This one will track off to the northeast. This one will pull up and weaken toward the Alaska Peninsula on Christmas Day, and should look something like this with that development moving in toward the Panhandle, still quite a ways off, but getting close enough to increase those winds and rain along the coast late in the afternoon. This one pulls up the Alaska Peninsula, rain and snow south side, maybe some snow overrunning into the southwest interior, Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Delta, southern Kuskokwim Valley, and maybe a chance of snow up into Cook Inlet, mainly along the upslope areas of the western Alaska Range. No change over the interior. Looks like diminishing winds, so as you can see, less gradient now. Could get a little breezy over toward Delta Junction maybe. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast will look windier than the west side, and just mostly cloudy, scattered snow showers to the Bering Sea. Cold air locked in place out there, so snow all the way down to the western Aleutians. Next system here staying to the south, but that looks like it'll track northeastward and come right on up in toward the Kenai Peninsula later in the week. But we'll know more about that later in the week. And for low temperatures tonight, 20 to 25 or so below zero over the north, and mid-teens to near 20 south central Alaska. 20s, lower 30s for the Panhandle. Highs for tomorrow staying below zero here, really north and west of the Alaska Range. Single numbers are just right around zero for the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. Teens for Bristol Bay, 20s to mid-30s for the Alaska Peninsula, 30s for the Panhandle, upper 20s in the north, and lower to mid-20s south central Alaska, lower 30s for the lows for Kodiak Island, and 20 to maybe 30 below zero up here in the north and northeast. Highs, warmest in the south, coldest in the north.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Some IFR here, southern Seward Peninsula from the Bering Strait across Norton Sound and on down in toward the Kuskokwim Mountains and along the southern Alaska Range here, right on down the Aleutian Range, Alaska Peninsula, a little bit into Bristol Bay there. It looks like some IFR also for Kodiak. Good VFR north and east there across the interior Gulf of Alaska, south central Alaska, IFR on the Panhandle, and that holds through tomorrow afternoon there for the southeast coast, marginal and IFR conditions. Some IFR along the coast range here, maybe into the Wrangell Mountains. VFR, south central Alaska, all in the interior, some IFR lingering there, the western Seward Peninsula, the Bering Strait, marginal VFR for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians, but some VFR from Amchitka westward. And for the next day, Christmas Day, IFR here, southern Kenai Peninsula, up in the Coast Range, some of that actually up to the Talkeetnas. Otherwise, the interior staying really nice. Maybe some patchy marginal VFR in the lower valleys up in the interior, but not much at all. And then some marginal and IFR conditions, Kodiak Island and northeast Bristol Bay, southern Kuskokwim Valley. More likely, though, along the Alaska Peninsula, marginal out in the Aleutians, stays IFR over most of the Panhandle. And then that breaks out in the afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, areas of IFR, mostly along the coast, but a lot less than there was in the morning, and maybe even some areas of VFR breaking out. Interior staying mostly VFR, although some IFR here. Western Copper River Basin, Talkeetnas, maybe on up toward Isabel Pass, and the eastern southern Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak, some IFR, Bristol Bay, western Bristol Bay, IFR down to the Alaska Peninsula, marginal for the Aleutians and Bering Sea. Passes shaping up like this, good VFR for both Hanatuvik and Atigan, and Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR, rainy, same forecast, VFR, also for windy. North entrance, south entrance through the pass, VFR, Isabel, VFR, Mentasta, Sealing's visibility is unlimited. That same forecast also for Tanita. Well, it won't be Kavu, but there'll be some clouds, but it'll be VFR. And for Portage, same thing, VFR flying. Chilkoot and White, though, IFR, at least through tomorrow night, maybe early into Tuesday as well. Freezing levels at the surface here, south of the Alaska Peninsula. Cutting back up along Kodiak Island tomorrow morning, hugging the coastline, cutting across southern Panhandle, 2,000 feet there, maybe Heidelberg, and otherwise south of everywhere else, even out here to the west, well south of the eastern Aleutians. Icing, that storm and the massive icing here will stay south, although getting pretty close to Winmac Island there, but I think it'll stay south and not affect the area at all. And then some icing possibilities here above about 4,000 feet of the just isolated moderate variety, Rymore mixed over the Panhandle. And the jet stream, main jet well to the south, so all the storminess staying well to the south, slipping into California. This one staying to the south, high pressure trying to push up, well, is pushing up into the Gulf of Alaska. The main jet coming over the top there, basically ridging through interior Alaska. And at 9,000 feet, that upper level low still here over the northern Bering, St. Lawrence Island area, keeping the clouds and some flurries in that area, but some good easterly flow here, 20 to 30 knots over the northern interior, light over the southern interior, west-southwest 15 to 20 into the Panhandle. Out west, not too bad wind-wise, especially over the western Aleutians, high pressure over the western Bering, maybe some 15 to 20 knot winds around that feature, and east-northeast 25 to 35. But the strongest wind staying south of the area there for the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, 3,000 feet, 30-knot winds from Atka to the eastern Aleutians here, the 50-knotters staying to the south, lighter winds up to the north and to the west, good easterlies, 30 to maybe up to 45 knots here through the interior. And with that, turbulence, considerable moderate chop with those gusty easterly winds here through the north-central interior, actually from around Eagle all the way out to the Noatak Valley, northwest coast, and the western Brooks Range, smooth to the south, smooth to the north, and then another area here with that system to the south. We've got some moderate chop roughly from, possibly Adak on over to Atka, but just light to isolated moderate below 4,000 feet for the eastern Aleutians, Fox Islands, up to along and just south of mainly the western Alaska Peninsula, otherwise Kodiak, Bristol Bay, pretty smooth, as well as the southeast coast. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
On March 11, 2011, a powerful tsunami hit Japan, destroying cities and villages. As the water receded back into the ocean, it pulled what remained of buildings, cars, boats, and homes along with it. Scrap metals, plastics, and objects of all shapes and sizes either sank near the shore or floated away. In the days that followed, large masses of floating debris could easily be seen by satellite imagery and aerial photos. In the wake of this disaster, NOAA is assessing the potential impact that the debris may have on U.S. shores. So, where will this debris go, and when will it get there? To help answer those questions, scientists are using computer models to estimate the debris' path, using its starting location in the tsunami zone and historical weather and ocean conditions. The findings are that some debris could pass near or wash ashore in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands as early as this winter. Debris may also approach the west coast of the United States in 2013 and potentially circle back to the main Hawaiian Islands in 2014. But scientists caution that there are limitations to what computer models can tell us, now that the debris has moved out of satellite view, and with currents and winds in the Pacific constantly changing, there is no guarantee that the debris will stay on the predicted path. Items will sink along the way, or break up and disperse in many directions. Despite these unknowns, NOAA and its partners are collecting data, assessing possible impacts, and making preparations in case debris does wash ashore. The 2011 tsunami in Japan reminds us that the devastation that happens on land can also become a marine debris issue at sea.
Imagine all of this underwater. In a major tsunami, it could happen. In this part of Washington state, it's happened before, hundreds of years ago. Sometime in the future, it will likely happen again. But we can be ready. If a tsunami strikes, this school will provide a place for people to ride it out above the waves.
We're in Westport, Washington, and right behind me is the very first tsunami vertical evacuation center in the United States.
This is an emergency. Please walk to the nearest exit, go to the stairs tower, and proceed up the stairs.
Tsunamis are a potential hazard for low-lying coastal areas. That's why many coastal communities have plans in place to get people to safety, high ground or inland, where they can be beyond the reach of a tsunami. Often there are signs showing where to go and where to gather. Most tsunamis are caused by underwater earthquakes along subduction zones, where two of Earth's plates collide and one is forced under the other. Westport and other Pacific Northwest coastal communities are especially at risk because one of these zones lies just offshore. It's called the Cascadia Subduction Zone. An earthquake here caused a tsunami in 1700 that flooded shores as far away as Japan. Experts say it's just a matter of time before it happens again. Since the subduction zone is so close, a tsunami like the one in 1700 could strike before people in some low-lying areas could get to high ground or inland. And Westport doesn't have a lot of high ground or easy routes inland.
If we get an earthquake or a tsunami, we're going to get a lot of water in the area really quickly, and we needed a place to go. So our community built this brand new school, and above our gym and cafeteria, we have a roof. And so the idea is that we'll get all of our students up, and anybody from the community who needs to get up, they can get up there as well.
Ocosta Elementary School might seem like a normal school, but look more closely. It's engineered to withstand monster waves. Tsunami vertical evacuation shelters must be able to resist the powerful forces that a tsunami brings. Hydrodynamic, buoyant, hydrostatic, and debris impact forces and strong currents. They're also designed to help people get to safety quickly.
There are 4 big staircases on each corner of the building, and each one of those staircases is 8 feet wide, and we can get the whole school evacuated in about 4.5 minutes.
Everybody should be at a 0.
On the roof of the building, there is water and food and buckets and shelters and tarps and blankets and different things so that we can be up there for 2, 3, maybe 4 days while we wait for rescue.
You can go to the top and you know you'll be safe. It feels really nice to have a special building because you feel protected.
This community decided that a tsunami evacuation center was important because they didn't have anywhere to go, and they decided to use their money to build the building. The additional cost is anywhere between 10 and 20% of the actual building cost itself, and that's really a sound investment for a lot of protection. You may be there a while, but you're safe and you're secure, and that's the most important thing.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis. Of course, Chuck CC all iced in through the Bering Strait and well south of St. Lawrence Island here, and now just west of Nunivak Island, increasing even down here along the Kuskokwim Delta coastline. Less, though, into Bristol Bay. Actually been a little bit of a decrease in the sea ice northern Cook Inlet due to the temporary little bit of a warm-up we had, but that might rebound with a little bit cooler temperatures for the next day or so. Otherwise, continued growth out here over the Bering Sea. Coastal water forecast, not bad here for the southeast coast, south coast, 15 to 20 out of the west, and southwest there as you head north at 15, and turning east on the north coast, seas 8 feet. Small craft advisories up there, and also due to the 9-foot seas all along the coastline. Lynn Canal, winds coming down to 20 knots from the north tomorrow. North 15, Passage Canal. South 15, Clarence Strait, 3-foot seas. Outlook for Tuesday, gales arrive here with that system to the southwest. Still a fair distance off the coast in the afternoon, but big enough that it's going to bring the gales up in the afternoon to 35 knots, and east-southeast 30 on the north coast. Seas 10 to 14 feet. And a full gale here for Stevens Passage in the forecast, 40 knots out of the east, and of course gale force gusts, north 25, Lynn Canal, southeast 20 for Clarence Strait. And for Prince William Sound, light northeast winds at 10, seas slide 15 out of the east for the North Gulf Coast, northeast 15 here for the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, southern Cook Inlet, northeast 10, northern Cook Inlet. Outlook for Tuesday, northeast 20, picking up now here for northern Cook Inlet, and small craft advisory south of the Foreland, 30-knot winds, 9-foot seas, minimum gales Kachemak Bay out of the northeast, minimum gales out of the east for the Barren Islands, east 30 knots, 10 to 13-foot seas here for the North Gulf Coast, northeast 20, seas 4 feet, Prince William Sound. And here for the Alaska Peninsula tomorrow, small craft advisories, northeast 25 to 30 knots, northeast 20 there for Bristol Bay, Sitkinak to Castle Cape, east 20, variable 15 here for Kodiak Island. Those get organized and increase the next day. Southeast 35 on the east side of the island, northeast 30 Shelikof Strait, Sitkinak to Castle Cape, southeast 30 12-foot seas, north 30 35 knots across the Alaska Peninsula, 10 to 14-foot seas, and Bristol Bay northeast at 30. Eastern Aleutians, east-northeast, 30 to 40 knots here, strongest south in Nikolsky, seas up to 14 feet. Gales for the central Aleutians, northeast 35 to 40 knots for Adak and Atka, diminishing as you head west down to just 15 knots from Kiska Island to Shemya. And then those will pick up on Tuesday. Easterlies now 25 to 30 knots or small craft advisories. Western Aleutians, central Aleutians, northeast 25. Fox Islands northeast or north-northeast 20 to 25 knots, mostly 25 knots here. Small craft advisories 9-2, 13-foot seas. And for the southwest coast, south of Nunivak Island, strongest winds north at 20, seas 4 feet, northeast 15 on the north side. Kind of light and variable now for the St. Lawrence Island, Norton Sound area, north 15. St. Matthew Island, small craft advisories for the Perbilofs. And those will continue northeast 25 for St. Paul, St. George in through Tuesday, north 25 now. South of Nunivak Island, north 15, St. Matthew Island, northeast 15, north of Nunivak Island, and north to northeast at 10 for Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island. Up along the Beaufort Sea coast here, central and east side, 15 to 20 knots out of the east. Brisk wind advisories for the west side here, all the way down to Cape Thompson, and then the Chukchi Sea east at 20. And for Tuesday, we've got easterlies 10 to 15 there from Cape Beaufort down to Wales, east 20, central and west side, and then brisk wind advisories now on that eastern stretch of the coast. For the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, the demarcation point, east 25 to 30 knots. And for tonight, not so much wind up there tonight. It'll be still windiest on the west side. Otherwise, kind of breezy, higher elevations here in the interior, but dry and below zero. Clouds, chance of snow showers, light, all the way from Bristol Bay up to the main low center there, just southwest of Nome. And most of this action off the coast, so dry over the interior, and rain south, maybe light snow as far north as the northern panhandle. This system sliding off to the east, and you can kind of tell tomorrow afternoon starts taking a turn to the northeast here, a new development right here, and dry over the interior, and clouds, isolated snow showers, but better chance of moisture over the panhandle. The next day that pushes northeast. There's the winds coming into the southeast coast along with the rain, gale force winds, and wet conditions up along the southwest interior. That's a look at the weather. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.